Welcome to MrKhanMaths. In this video, we will be learning how to do long division. I'll be looking at a range of examples where we have different dividends and divisors. So if you follow my examples carefully, you'll be able to answer any long division question using my method. I'll be using my steps to success to help me find my solution. You can see these on your screen. I will talk you through each step so it breaks down the question. So for example 1, I've chosen a question which isn't too challenging, so I can show you how my steps to success are used to get to my solution. So let's go into it. We have 568 divided by 2. So before I can use my steps to success, I'm going to set up the question as I have done for my previous division videos. I'm going to write out my times table for my divisor. So in this case, I'm going to write out my 2 times table. Now, this isn't necessarily required, but it can come in handy when answering the question. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out my bus stop. And on the inside, I'm going to put my dividend of 568. And on the outside, I'll put my divisor of 2. Now I'm going to use my steps to success to help answer the question. So my first step to success is to divide. So I'm going to ask myself, how many 2's go into 5? And using my times table, I can see there are 2 2's in 5. Moving on to my next step to success, which is multiply. I'm going to multiply my answer of 2 with my divisor, which is also the number 2. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 2, and that gives me 4. Now I'm going to place my number 4 underneath my first digit of 5 like this. The next step I'm going to do is subtract. I'm going to take away 4 away from 5. So 5 take away 4 is equal to 1. And the 1 tells me when I had divided 5 by 2, I had an answer of 2 remainder 1. So the 1 represents my remainder. And finally, I'm going to bring down the next digit. So my remainder of 1 now becomes 16. And I've completed my steps to success, and I will repeat the whole process until I have a remainder of 0. So let's start again. I'm going to divide 16 by 2. So I will ask myself, how many 2's are there in 16? And looking at my times table, I can see that there are 8 2's in 16. So I'm going to put my 8 here where my answer is. The next step I'm going to do is multiply. I'm going to multiply my answer of 8 with my divisor. So 8 times 2 is 16. So I'll place that underneath here like this. The next step then requires me to subtract. So I'm going to take away 16 away from 16, which gives me 0. What this 0 tells me is I have no remainders when I divided 16 by 2. And the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down my final digit of 8 here like this. And I'm going to repeat the whole process again. So first thing I'm going to ask myself is, how many 2's are there in 8? Or why is 8 divided by 2? And using my times table, you can see the answer is 4. Next, I'm going to do is multiply. 2 times 4, which gives me 8. So I'll put that underneath like this. And then the next step is to subtract. So 8 take away 8 gives me 0. So this tells me when I divided 8 by 2, my answer is 4 with a remainder of 0. I have no other number to bring down. So therefore, I've got my final answer to 568 divided by 2, which is 284. Moving on to example 2. You can see we have a slightly more challenging question in comparison to example 1. However, I want to show you that I will use the same steps to success in order to achieve and reach my final answer. So, as I have done previously, I'm going to set up my question. I'm going to write out the times table for my divisor. And in this case, I'm going to write out the 33 times table. Now, as I said before, it's not necessarily needed, but does come in handy. Once I've done that, I'm going to draw my bus stop. And on the inside, I will put my dividend. And on the outside, I will put my divisor. Now, looking at my steps to success, I'm going to start off by dividing. So the first question I'm going to ask myself is, how many 33s are there in 6? And the answer, looking at my times table, is 0. So I'll place my 0 here. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply my divisor with my answer. So 33 times 0 is 0. And the 0 will be placed underneath my first digit like this. The next step to success is to subtract. So I'm going to do 6 take away 0, which is 6. And the final step in my steps to success is bringing down the next digit. So I'm going to bring down the 2 like this. Once I've done that, the whole process will repeat itself. So again, I'm going to start off by dividing. How many 33s are there in 62? And looking at my times table, you can see that there's only 1. So I'll place my 1 here like this. The next step is to multiply. So again, I'm going to multiply my divisor, which is 33, with 1. So 33 times 1 is 33. And I'll put that underneath my number like this. Next step is to subtract. So I'm going to do 62 take away 33. And because it's set up as a column subtraction, I can do the subtracting. So 12 take away 3 is 9. 5 take away 3 is 2. And the next step is to bring down my next digit. Now, just before I move on, what this tells me so far is 62 divided by 33 is 1 with a remainder of 29. And like previously, we are trying to get the remainder down to 0. And that then is our final answer. So when I bring down the 7, I now have 297. So again, I have completed my steps to success, and I will repeat it again for the number 297. So I want to know how many 33s are there in 297. And looking at my times table, I can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 33s in 297. So the dividing step has been completed. The next step is to multiply. I'm going to multiply 9 times 33, which gives me 297. And as I've done previously, I'm going to put in my 297 underneath my number. The next step is to subtract. So I'm going to do 297, take away 297, and that gives me 0. So what that is telling me is there is no remainders left. And with there not being any numbers to bring down, my final answer for 627 divided by 33 is 19. Now moving on to my final example. 4,928 divided by 56. You can see I'm going to divide a 4-digit number by a 2-digit number. So the question has got a little more difficult. However, the process remains the same. So I'm going to write out the times table for my divisor. So you can see I have my 56 times table. Now I'm going to set up my question. So I'm going to draw my bus stop, and in the inside, I'm going to have my dividend of 4,928. And on the outside, I'm going to have my divisor of 56. Once I've done this, I'm going to use my steps to success to answer my question. So looking at the first digit, I'm going to ask myself, how many times can I get 56 into 4? You could probably see from the times table, the answer is 0. So step 1 is complete. Step 2 is I'm going to multiply my divisor with my answer. So 56 times 0 is 0. So I'm going to place that underneath my first digit like this. And my second step is complete. My next step is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract 4 minus 0. And that gives me 4. And I'll place that here like this. And finally, I'm going to bring down any digits that we have. So the next digit I have is the number 9. So my 4 now becomes 49. And the whole process then repeats itself. So first I'm going to ask myself, how many 56s can I get into 49? And the answer you can see from my times table again is 0. So I'll place my 0 here in my answer like this. The next step I'm going to do is multiply my divisor with my answer. So 0 times 56 is 0. So I'm going to place my 0 underneath my 49 like this. The next step is to subtract the two numbers. So 49 take away 0, and the answer is 49. And the next digit I'm going to bring down is the number 2. So my 49 now becomes 492. And there we have it. So far I can see that there was 0 56s in the number 4 and the number 49. So now I'm going to try and see how many 56s can we get into 492. So using my times table, I can see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to put 8 in my answer here. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply. So 8 times 56, and the answer is 448. So I'm going to put my 448 like this, and then move on to my next step, which is to subtract the two numbers. And because it's set up as a column subtraction, I'm going to take away the numbers. So 2 take away 8 I can't do, so I'm going to borrow from the 9. 12 take away 8 is 4. 8 take away 4 is 4. And 4 take away 4 is 0. So subtraction has been done. This tells me 492 divided by 56 is 8 whole with a remainder of 44. So I'm going to see if I have a digit remaining to bring down, and I do, and it's the number 8. So I'm going to bring down the number 8, and my 44 now becomes 448. So again, I'm going to repeat the steps to success. So I'm going to ask myself, how many 56s can I get into 448? And using my timetable, I can see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8 whole times. So the division has been done. I'm now going to multiply my answer of 8 with 56, and that gives me 448. So I'll put that underneath my number like this. Next, I'm going to subtract. And if I take away 448 away from 448, that gives me 0. So what this is telling me is I have no remainders left. I'm going to check to see if there's a digit left to bring down, and there is none. So therefore, this has now got me to my final answer for 4,928 divided by 56, which is 88. Now that you have seen me do 3 different types of examples for long division, I want you to have a go at Mr. Khan's skills check questions. Here are Mr. Khan's skills check questions. Please press pause and have a go at the questions on your screen, and press play when you are ready for the answers to be revealed. Here are the answers to Mr. Khan's skills check questions. Check how you have got on by marking the questions you have done. Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye for now and see you again soon.